Your main fight is Beneil Dariush against Arman Tsarukyan. This is a great matchup. This is a matchup that you look at and you go, Tsarukyan has got fantastic wrestling. He's got good stand-up. It's the Dariush he's different. He's a hard person to match up against. He does things in an awkward fashion, and Tsarukyan's going to have to figure out. But it's going to be just a great main event.
John.
Yeah.
Let me ask you what you think the difference is between Beneil Dariush and when he fought Matisse Gamrot. What is the difference between that fight and this fight? Because Gamrot lost to Beneil Dariush, and Dariush made it look easy.
Yeah.
Tsarukyan lost to Gamrot, and they are very similar
lot better
fighters.
on the feet than Gamrot.
I agree.
Gamrot does not like to be in the stand-up long. Tsarukyan will be there. That's a difference maker in this fight.
I don't know, man.
I do.
This is what I think is the difference maker in this
Go ahead.
fight. When Beneil Dariush fought Gamrot, he was on the way up.
Yep.
He's now lost. And I'm not saying he's lost all of his confidence. I'm saying that he doesn't have the same confidence he had when he beat Gamrot. He
agree.
looked like the confident. He looked like he exuded confidence when he was in that cage. He was just fucking was brimming and pouring out of him when he fought Gamrot.
Yep.
The things he did to Gamrot, like in terms of just the scrambles and the ability just to get to the top position, get takedowns, control position. I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Who this guy's making it look easy right now. I look at Tsarukyan too on a good little run also, but his loss to Gamrot set him back a little bit. But now he's on the one going up, and Dariush going, man, I definitely didn't look good against former champ. Oliveira. Jeez, Josh. Come on, Josh. Oliveira. I definitely didn't look good against Oliveira. That wasn't my best me. I've got to figure out what went wrong. Because you know what, John, you know this. We worked so hard to get to the top. Yeah. And you're thinking like nothing's going wrong for you. Yeah. Then when you lose that first one, you're like, wait, someone's figured me out. I've got to change my whole game. I've got to figure it all out. That doesn't mean you got to change it for Tsarukyan, but you're going to have to change it if you want to win the title. You have to make some adjustments. Not change the whole game, but you got to make some adjustments. Yeah. I want to know what adjustments Beneil Dariush got to make, though, for a Tsarukyan fight, because he's already fought Gamrot, and they're very similar.
They are similar in the wrestling. They're not similar in the stand-up. Tsarukyan is much more comfortable with his stand-up game than I believe Gamrot is. And it's not that Gamrot can't be in a stand-up, but he's just not as comfortable. Tsarukyan will stand there and bang with just about anybody, but he'll use his wrestling when he gets the opportunity. Now, look, Beneil, I love him, man. I've known him forever, and like I said, awkward, creates different angles that in ways that is not the norm, and so it takes you out of your normal game that you like to play. It makes you hesitate, and I'm not sure that Arman is old enough to hesitate.
This is true.
I'm being honest. Look,
explain that to people, because people don't understand. The age makes a big difference on what you do in that cage. Explain it to people.
Well, let's be honest. Beneil's 34. I believe he's 34. Arman is now 26 or 27.
Okay.
26, I think.
I think he's 25, John.
Is he 25?
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
he is.
That right there, he has a confidence in his ability to do whatever he wants when he wants, and it doesn't matter to him what his opponent does, because this is what I do, and I'm going to force it on you because I can do that, and I have the gas tank for it. And all the things that we talk about, Beneil is right at that moment that it's starting to change, and he has to, figure out how I train a little bit different. The injuries that I've had, all these things I need to. Tsarukyan doesn't have to deal with any of those. All Tsarukyan does is fight, train, and figure out if he didn't have a good performance or something he wasn't doing the right way. I go back and I'm going to fix it now. And he goes back and he listens to his coaches, and then we're good. Let's go. Yeah, it's a different mindset, and that mindset, and being that Tsarukyan is younger, it can have a difference in this. Sometimes it can work to the advantage of the veteran fighter, which Beneil is. in this situation, I'm not too sure that it's going to be an advantage for Beneil.
Gotcha. The fight that I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to that main event as well, is Dan Hooker and Bobby Green. We had Bobby Green on here just shortly, just a couple weeks back, 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
We had him on, and he was talking about, hey, Dan's been talking. Let's go. Let's chalk it up.
That's a fight that interests me. Yep.
That means that Bobby's going to have to stop smoking. That's what it means. Bobby's going to have to dial back on the smoking a little bit.
Not going to happen.
And Dan Hooker is, in his last fight, just showed the grit. The grit that he's always had it. He's always had it. But if
you're going to look at Dan Hooker, go back and watch Dustin Poirier and Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, that fight told me everything that I needed to know about who Dan Hooker is, what he is as a fighter, what's inside. He's got no fucking quit. Can he be beat? Sure. Anybody can be beat. But he's got no quit. The dude is just a gamer, and he keeps coming. And so that's a great fight between the two.
You look at the Poirier fight, and I look at that fight, and I go, that fight to me was like, yeah, showed that he's got grit. He can keep coming against the highest level. I got that part. But in his last fight, he got his ass kicked for 5 minutes fucking straight. It was nasty. It was one of the worst beatings I've seen outside of Josh Thomson, Tony Ferguson round 2. Okay, that's how fucking bad it was. This guy, I got to be honest, man, this guy, in that last fight, he figured it out in the second round and then went on in the third and just fucking turned it on. Yeah. I got to be honest, man. I was like, I kind of like Dan Hooker from before from the Poirier fight. But that fight right there, I'm automatically a fan for life. Automatically a fan for life. But, he's facing my boy Bobby Green, who's been on the show. And, I fought him. I shared the cage with him a little bit, and I got to root for Bobby. But I love this fight. I think it's a great fight.
It is a great fight. It's kind of funny because Jalen and Bobby kind of circle around each other a little bit, that being his last opponent, but they fight completely different as far as just the length and style and what they do. But Bobby Green can get away with a lot of things because of his speed, and he is faster than Dan Hooker. No doubt in my mind that he's faster than him. He's not as long as him, but Bobby's riding a nice little win streak. Obviously Dan got that win against Jalen Turner that you're talking about that impressed you so much. I just look at the fight with Poirier as I know how good Dustin Poirier is, and I know the mindset of a Dustin Poirier, and to stay in there against a guy when he's coming on like that and not give in, goddamn. To touch back on what you're saying, Dan Hooker's got to take a page out of Drew Dober's book, though, when he fought Bobby Green and do what he did in the third round of his last fight. Yeah. He's got to bite down and cut the cage off, pressure Bobby to the fence, put his back against the fence so he's square against the fence. Now it takes away his movement side to side, and then you're more likely to be able to touch him against the fence. Yeah. And Dan being the longer fighter, seems like he'd be the longer fighter because he is a lot taller. But we never know. I'm not sure if Bobby's got a long reach. He seems like he did when I fought him. He seemed like he could hit me from distance, but I wasn't sure if he was faster than me or he had longer reach. Yeah. But that's a great fight. Who's got the long?
5 rounds too, right?
Huh? Yeah, see, reach right there, 75, 71. Okay, let's go to the not co-main, but let's go to the next fight. Next fight is Sean Brady versus Kelvin Gastelum.
Great fight. It's a great fight. Great fight. Yeah, absolutely. Sean Brady's a stud, man, and he's got a gas tank. So does Kelvin. People don't give Kelvin enough credit for again, he's my Roberto Duran of the MMA world. I love him. He's got great stand-up. He's tough as hell. He's getting smarter with his stand-up as he's getting older, which you need to. He still has a good grappling game. His wrestling is solid, and so I just look at this, man, and it's like, look, Brady he's a beast. And, Sean Brady went with Craig Jones on the ground and won. Now, it wasn't an exciting match. I'm not saying that, he dominated Craig Jones. He beat him, though. Okay? To beat Craig Jones in a grappling match, you got to have something. You got to have something. Let's just be honest. So, on the ground, if Sean Brady can get the fight there and be in the top position, he's going to give Kelvin trouble. Okay? In the stand-up, they match up very well. They both have a brawling style, and the one thing I'm saying, they both have a gas tank. Both of these guys get in shape, and we're going to see what the cut to 170 does that affect the gas tank that Kelvin Gastelum has had.